favorite game?
My bad. Hi guys, welcome back for the third time. This feels a little bit awkward, but yeah, we are back, and I'm not going to go over the apologies again because you only get one of those. So, sorry.
Damn.
At this point, you should expect that my computer's going to die at some point. So,
Sorry, not sorry.
yeah, not much I can do to control that. So we were basically going over where we left off. We were going over our favorite plays. We were talking about the Seraphine play, or the Seraphine game that that Lauren liked, or that was her favorite, um, and pinpointing which one that one was. And you were saying that it was the game versus Ionia, where your mid laner was playing Silas and stole Vi's ult.
Yeah. And because he was forward, I could land my ult on everyone, even in the back line. And also, I think Drake was there for that fight too. He got a kill right before. I was able to gank top. It was a pretty fun game.
Yeah. So, at least on my end, I've got to say my favorite games is probably like a two-way tie between the first game of Freljord versus Shurima and Shurima versus Demacia. I mean, both of those games were really close, at least in the case of Freljord versus Shurima in the early game. It went in a lot of ways I wouldn't have expected, and at least in the case of in Shurima versus Demacia, it was a fight straight through.
Which game is this? The Shurima versus Demacia? Which game is that?
This is during the semi-finals, right?
Yeah, semifinals. Yeah.
Yeah, but which one?
The first game where
I was
not present.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, I also liked that game too. That was my favorite game. I don't even remember what I was playing. I gotta be honest with you. But I think Shot Caller was playing Volley Bear, right? Because he had switched.
Yeah, I think so.
And I just remember, I actually don't know which game it was. Maybe it wasn't game one. Maybe it was game two.
Was that also the one that you played Teemo?
No, we're talking about the semifinals. That was the prelims.
Yeah.
But there was a game we were playing against Shurima where we were losing, but then we just had this really good team fight where we had like a really good engage with like That, I think, and Volley Bear and Leona, and it just it helped us turn the game around. I think that's the same game. I've got like two games in my head where I think I'm seeing the same thing, but I think it was that one where we were behind and we had a really good team fight at Dragon. We were able to turn the game around and win. So I like.
Yeah, I mean, and the games were all really close at that point too, which was also really cool.
All of the semifinals were my favorites. Like I really enjoyed the kind of the suspense of which one was actually going to win those matches, because it was really, really close in a lot of them, and both teams were newer. Like they seemed on even ground, like they had come a really long way, had been practicing a lot. So that's, to me, made for a really engaging experience.
I'll throw my 2 cents out there. I would say that my favorite game of the tournament, where I was playing, was my first game in the tournament on the semifinals for game 2, since I did miss game 1. When I was able to play Rel, and the biggest thing that I remember was that Demacia had Zac as their jungler, and there was a lot of key points where I was able to use my ult in the right fashion, or use the E in the right fashion to stop his jump and just keep them generally locked down.
Yeah, I remember that one actually. Like, there's a lot of really good Rel plays.
It felt good being able to secure that win as well, because with losing that first game, it really changed the mindset for the team to finish it out.
Right.
That's good.
Yeah, and I mean, and how much of a priority was it for Freljord to make sure that you wouldn't be on that rel.
I feel like it was very high.
Yeah.
Your rel is pretty scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seemed like a pretty consistent second round ban.
Yeah.
I might have already mentioned this, but I
Going
played
out.
an ARAM with him as playing Rel. And
Yeah.
this, like, it was frustrating because he gave no shits about the rest of his team. But, like, he just kept on, like, 1v5ing their entire team, like, under tower and, like, killing them as Rel. And there's nothing they could do about it.
Sunfire with Rel. It's something.
She has
Yeah,
a
it's
lot
good.
of CC for herself too. It's really annoying.
Yeah, it's good to see someone perform well on Rel because after the hype of her release, it just seems like either one, you never see Rel anymore, or when you do see Rel, the players are not very good. So it is nice to see like someone who actually knows how to like control the champion.
So we have a question from Corey. Why the Samira ban?
We've told you this, Corey. It's because it's a mental health ban.
True.
We
That champion
have
doesn't deserve
lost
to play.
so many times in Clash because of Samira that
Yeah.
I don't want to see that in any game.
Yeah, when I saw the last ban on Game 3 open and Rel hadn't been banned, my heart hoped that they would let it go through just once.
I was really hoping it would slip by. Our mentality was, I originally had said, hey, let's use our 4th ban on Janna so I can play Rel, and then I realized that they had their last ban and then we would have ours. I'm like, wait, let's save Janna for the last ban, because if we ban Janna now, Rel is a guaranteed ban. But then Rel got banned anyway, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another
Which is
question.
unfortunate.
Best worst picks of the tournament.
That requires a lot of brain power on my part. I don't
I
know.
have to remember what the picks of the tournament were.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't really know what any Rin weights are.
I don't know.
I'm really glad Shot Caller did so well on Ashe. I think those over across the map ults were pretty fun, and also with Corey's Jinx's ults too. Both of those.
I wish you guys would have let him perform well on Ashe more than once. But
No,
it's okay.
I saw his performances because I check everyone, and I was like, that's not getting through. I hate dealing with good Ashes.
After that game, we're just like, well, that Ashe play is never going to be played again. So we were definitely prepared for that.
We hadn't even seen it yet, and we had already been banning it. Also, we will never ban Dandrew champs because we want his champs to get through.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I want Dandrew to be able to play the game.
Yeah, I think I got to play Echo a grand total of 1 time in the first game, and then he got banned every single game after that.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, you got to make an example out of Demacia, and then they were like, that's a good ban. Never saw it again.
all of us analysts were like, I wonder why we're not banning Echo, and then he comes in and steamrolls everyone.
Well, yeah, but like, okay, so you have to remember that the only person on Demacia that's actually been here is Dandrew, right? And the rest of us don't know anything about Freljord except maybe like looking at op.gg's. So Dandrew was like, oh, his Echo is really good. And I was like, we can play around Echo. Well, it got banned after that, so it doesn't really matter, does it?
My favorite pick of the tournament that I can remember right now was actually, weirdly, the Jax.
The Jax game was very good.
Yeah. Like, I was not expecting that. Was not expecting necessarily the kind of results that happened, but that was a really, really solid pick.
Drake popping off in the early game. Is that the one you're talking about today?
Yep.
Yeah, where he was beaten on Ornn's head.
Yeah. That shouldn't happen.
I mean,
but it did.
My favorite pick also has to go to Drake for the Mundo. As a fellow Mundo player, I appreciated that. I loved Mundo. I've got to say that the worst pick has got to be the Aurelion Soul, but that was a troll pick, so.
Yep, words in my mouth. That's what I was going to share, was that I thought that the Aurelion Soul pick was the most questionable of any pick this tournament. For obvious reasons.
Yeah.
I'm still perplexed why that happened, but
We were just kind of like we had a mental health game. It was good, stressful prelims. But I had a question about Ten Rocks. Did he? I remember throughout the prelims that he was talking about maintaining his status as the First Blood King. Did he have any commentary about not being First Blood in the finals?
Well, he's not here to speak for himself.
He's not. Yeah. Yeah. So I was just asking if you guys heard anything from him.
sounds
No.
like a reporter. Can I get a comment on this?
No, he didn't say anything about that.
No
Oh.
comment.
Oh, all right. Well.
Oh, he's in the chat.
He's in the chat though, so.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. I don't know who he is in the chat, but
He's
I was.
Doug.
Oh, okay.
Doug Winter.
Oh, I see.
Can we get a
Okay.
comment?
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah,
see why we have Freljord as our name now?
So
We
the
have
question
Coldest Winter
was,
and Doug
how do you
Winter.
feel about as kind of the First Blood King? Do you have any thoughts or any feelings about not being First Blood in the finals?
Yeah, I kind of lost a bit of his streak there.
Is
I thought
this
it was
the
pretty
real?
close.
Has
It
this
was
been the
close.
real upset?
If Drake hadn't first blooded Ornn, I mean, he would have been first blood. But I mean, that's playing what ifs.
Yeah.
So
I mean, is this the real victory
He
of the
says-
tournament finals? Doug being dethroned?
He says, I played with Sandra every game. Pretty lame of me.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
I guess it is a little bit harder to die on Lysandra.
Yeah.
Yep. I was surprised the Yone didn't come out on Doug. He'd been performing really well earlier in the tournament.
Oh, yeah. But the flex pick on the Yone top is pretty good, too. I mean,
Yeah,
as
for
long
sure.
as we have a Yone on the team.
So, Sean, I don't know how much you can speak to this, but what was with the top lane priority in games 2 and 3? Because I feel like it didn't necessarily pay off for you guys.
It's honestly a really good question. I really do honestly wish that I had a wholehearted answer to it. I feel like a lot of it was after, because the Jax game was game 1, correct?
Yes,
Yep.
that is correct.
I feel like some of the mentality that was had between the two of them was just trying to prevent that from happening again.
Yeah.
But I don't think it paid off, or not even think it didn't pay off.
Yeah. I mean, Misclicked seems to just pick. I mean, other than the fact that he plays well, just seems to pick very good champs that can always get themselves back into the game anyways, even if they do get camp.
Yeah, I remember there was a lot of discussion during that match about the attention that was being given top lane as opposed to attention being given bot lane for the Lucian, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it
they
was
wanted.
just.
I think they wanted to mess up our top laner's KDA because he had 1 death before today or something. What was it?
Oh, really?
yeah, he only had
He
one.
only had one death before today.
Yeah, the Yone E, the unfortunate Yone E.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I wish he was on the call because I kind of wanted to ask about like his feelings dodging 3 Shuriman's top lane while he waits for you guys to rotate top. That was actually really good.
Yeah.
The outplay there. I would really love to hear his comment like how he felt doing that play.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think was it Cassiopeia that died there?
Yeah.
Trying to help out, but he was able to stall for like a really long time.
Yeah. Because I think Rex, you called that he was gonna die, but then he got a nice E off, and then the shield came, and he ended up surviving the whole fight. I think.
Yeah, well, the shield bow popped off like right then.
Are you talking about the one bot lane or?
No, it was
top.
top.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like near the tribush, and I think Graves and Ornn engaged
Also,
on him, and Cassiopeia was coming up, and then you guys rotated in time.
I want to give a shout out to the Graves ult through the wall.
Yes,
like that was I was like, what? Like when I saw
Yeah,
that,
the
like,
max range Graves ult through the wall to pick up first blood, I think it was
Oh
nuts.
Yeah, we
I
were
forgot
both
about
looking
that.
at it actually, and we tried. We both. I tried to block, and he tried to dodge it, but it was just unblockable. It's Graves ult.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was. I didn't even realize until that point that like first blood hadn't been drawn, and then when it came up, I was like, holy crap! Like he's already like he's 6, and he's like they're just now drawing first blood.
Yeah, they weren't any quick first bloods, I think.
Yeah.
I think all of them happened around level 6.
I mean,
Well, I mean,
kudos to you guys.
there was the gank early.
I also had my level 1 Swain first blood.
Oh
Yeah,
yes,
invade-
I
the
forgot
invade
about
on-
that. I forgot about the
That's what I was
invade.
saying,
Oh
yeah.
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 Shurima finally had an invade payoff after everyone VOD reviews our invade tactics. That felt good.
Did they make that game personal for you after getting the first blood invade?
Not really. Actually, I wasn't too upset about that that death because I didn't burn anything, and I was like, okay, it went on the support. It's not terrible, even though it's a Swain. I was like, it's not terrible. It could have gone on the jungler, the mid laner, top laner. I was like, that was close, so I wasn't too worried about that.
Yeah,
Nice.
had your guys' team comp been a little bit different, it definitely would have been more of an impact on me as Swain.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in terms of your team composition second game, because for me, I didn't quite understand the theory getting into your Elise pick because it seems squishier than a lot of the other team comps that you've had. Were you just kind of looking to make like a dive assassin comp where you could just spread your damage across multiple members of your team?
Let me look at that game real quick. Honestly, that game, I think I got triple banned off my best champions, and
Yeah.
Trundle was a really
Yeah.
bad pick there.
Mhm.
So one of my only backups was I was either gonna play Elise or Vi, and I just decided on Elise because I have a lot more experience on Elise.
Okay.
So that was kind of the decision making between that. I was kind of thinking about the comp a little bit, but at the same time, I was like, what can I really play now since I got triple banned?
Yeah.
I feel like this is a rhetorical question from the chat, but there, Trojan is asking, do you think that having 2 master players on your team helped with your victory?
Who's master on our team?
I don't
I
know.
don't think we have
No one.
I mean,
Is-
Drake's highest rank is Diamond 4. I think Chris is currently Plat 1, so I don't really know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
I guess they're just saying that you're cracked based on the gameplay. They just figured you were masters. Congratulations.
Congratulations, yeah.
You guys are basically masters players.
If we were masters, I don't think we would have died at all.
We play a lot of normal games against like masters and grandmasters because a couple of us have like grandmaster normal MMR, so it's pretty rough.
Yeah, the practice
Yeah.
game that we played, the last practice game before we played against Shurima, we had a lobby of a master, a diamond 1, 2 diamond 4s, and I think a gold 1. So, and we won pretty
Wow.
handily. They surrendered at 15.
Nice.
Yeah, that
Wow.
was a fun one. I was scared too because the master player was on Cassidon. I was like, I don't want to play
Yeah,
these
I get
guys.
that out.
And then we just wrecked them anyway.
I've been in a
Yep.
couple matches with masters on a master on the enemy team, and every time I've been underwhelmed by the performance, and like that's not meant as like an insult to master players, but just like diamonds, I've noticed, you know, consistently like outperform sometimes, you know, the masters on a team. I'm not sure why that is, but
Well, I mean, I think one thing to note is that when a lot of people start climbing to the higher elos, like past, you know, diamond into the masters and grandmasters, they're usually maining one champion and are knowing the ins and outs of a very small champion pool, and that can kind of now translate into a much larger tournament where people are forced to use larger champion pools.
Yeah,
Is it-
sometimes I kind of feel like masters players and norms are just kind of playing for fun and like
Yeah.
first timing champions are doing whatever. While diamond players, this is no offense to diamond players, but I feel like they're just kind of like blowing some steam because when they're like losing some of their ranked games, they just kind of need to stomp on some normies real quick.
Yeah.
So I think that's why you see the difference. Like the diamond players are actually trying to an extent, and then the masters players just like, okay, whatever, I'm gonna play ribbon top and just press Q.
Yep,
I
that's
don't know.
what Doug was saying here. He says Masters more relaxed when they play norms.
Yeah.
And then we have another question. It says biggest disappointment and biggest surprises in the tournament.
Not getting to play REL in the finals. Easy.
Aw.
Aw.
Biggest surprise has to be the Aurelion Soul Jungle, still.
Yeah.
I'm glad
Yeah.
that Demacia can throw out the wild card. Hopefully, we can do more of that in the future, but with wins, not losses.
I would say the biggest disappointment for me has got to be like the full lack of Teemo top lane.
Dude,
Yeah, with
Oh.
all those buffs.
dude,
They weren't
they,
through.
they
On
had
this
me on
next
support.
patch.
They got me on support, So
Well,
I can't. I could play Teemo support. I just haven't brought it out. We gotta make the comp for that.
Right.
The other big surprise was how well Demacia and Shurima were able to kind of pull things together for the semifinals. Just like constantly impressed by their performance there.
Yeah, I mean, day 2 Demacia and Shurima would have crushed day 1 Demacia and Shurima handily.
Mm-hmm.
It was fun
Yeah,
watching those games.
Yeah, I did like watching the progress of Shurima throughout the tournament, and just kind of like seeing them get stronger. I mean, it's harder to gauge what they're doing when they play against Demacia because I'm playing against them, and so I'm just kind of thinking about us. But I think because they got into the second seed, like seeing their progress versus Freljord every time, I felt like they did better and better each time
Yeah.
they played against you guys. And I think that was the exciting thing for me. Like when you guys, like when we lost the semifinals, I wasn't really upset because I was like, wow, now I get to see how Shurima does against Freljord this time.
To be on a slightly more serious note, even though I am serious about REL, something that's not directed at myself, I would say my biggest disappointment was definitely it was disheartening, I would imagine, for Shurima. It was, I can't remember which day it was. I remember not being there because it was during that first weekend. It was against Freljord, where Shurima had that huge lead, and Freljord was able to pull that back. I mean, it was very cool to be able to see a comeback like that. We all like an underdog story, but well, more so just a comeback. But it was definitely disappointing to see that Shurima wasn't able to pull through with that win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
I mean, it's
go ahead.
so other me, Dubious Rex. How do you feel like a sort of kinship with Shurima, both having like both basically building your teams and forging them within like the fires of the tournament?
A little bit. Like I said, I was a Shurima stan. Still am. So I do root for Shurima, but well, I do feel like we have a lot of similarities, and I'm excited to see both teams' growth. I think my biggest thing is that I would like, even though I feel like Shurima's future is destined to kind of head on Freljord a bit, I would like to see Demacia at least have somewhat of a rivalry with Shurima that we could kind of play off of. Right now, I've focused my mind on this small rivalry with Ionia that I've made up with myself. But I would like a real rivalry with Shurima at some point during our growth.
I think
I would
that's
say
incredibly plausible.
I would say that we can see some kinship, partially just because 2 of Shurima's members are ex-Demacia members, but besides that, yes, definitely, teams being forged in the fires of the tournament, as you put it. And I definitely see Demacia becoming a force to be reckoned with how much more they've been able to actually get practice in, and hopefully we're able to start doing the same, lining up schedules and whatnot.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if you're not careful, they will sneak up on you, I feel like.
Will we ever see the rel ban not come through?
Well, because Sean was so sad, now I feel like I need to let it go through. Samira is not getting through though.
I don't want
Yeah,
any
Samir
pity.
is gone.
I don't want any pity, but I understand.
Yeah. Shrima does need to know that they had a lot of people rooting for them in the chats. Like,
Yeah.
people really wanted to see them at least pick up some of those wins. So
Yeah, I specifically, like, I wanted the game to go 5 games. I know it would have been hell for you. Sorry, Sean. I didn't actually take that into consideration. Considering it would have been like what another hour or so before you were free. But I really wanted to see more games out of that, just to see the back and forth, because
Yeah.
Shurima reminds me of one of my old favorite basketball teams, the Phoenix Suns under Steve Nash, where they were like 100% offense and no defense. And they were incredibly entertaining to watch, but they couldn't win the championships because they had no defense.
There's a question in the chat for Freljord in Coldest Winter. What do you guys think about the other teams? I think you guys have already been asked this before, but has anything changed from prelims to now?
I think it's the same. Like, I can definitely see potential in all teams. I think that every team has a different strong point that they need to develop more. Like with Demasia's mid laner being really cracked, and Ionia's bot lane being pretty synergistic, and Shrima's overall aggressiveness.
We have another question directed at Sean. Do you think that postponing the finals affected your team's mental? I'd say not postponing the finals would have affected his team's mental more. But
yeah, I would say I don't want to dig up something that from the past like that. I'd say it would have been better had things gone as originally planned, but we all know that the unforeseen can happen at times. But I would say that overall, I don't think that it necessarily affected the mental because there was enough time to cool down. I just think that today there was just several factors. Individuals just not being at their full capacity today. I definitely feel like we as a team just weren't able to show our 100% today.
Right. Then
I'm not necessarily sure if mental had much to do with it.
Right. We have a question in all caps, which makes me think this person really wants the answer. What does Coldest think of the teams?
Kind of hard for me to answer that. I did watch some of the games, and I played in all the games, obviously. Definitely struggled against certain junglers, I think. At least in the early game, I was having issues throughout the tournament. Sometimes with champs like Hecarim, even in the finals, a little bit of difficulty keeping up with Graves early because I actually banned Graves when I play Zac because I just hate that matchup in the jungle, but still worked out there. I feel like I feel like everybody has like really good team comps in mind, but it's kind of hard to get everything going when your team's getting banned. People don't have too many backup champions. So I feel like if people expanded their champ pools somewhat, it'd be a lot more beneficial just because you won't get banned out all the time.
Yeah.
That brings up another point that I thought was a little bit questionable. Was like a big question that I had is why wasn't their priority on the Hecarim pick? Like we left it open through like our first banning phase, and it could have been taken in I think most of the games. Like we only banned it second round, and it felt like Hecarim would have made Misfortune useless, but we just never saw it for some reason.
Yeah.
Is there any reason why you guys didn't put any priority on picking that, Sean?
I honestly don't know exactly the mentality that was going on with the exact picks. I think a lot of it was just what Joby felt like playing in the moment.
And wasn't
I think
Misfortune one of the later picks? I think one of the last picks in that lobby. If I'm
It was second round the second
Yeah.
game and first round the first game, or backwards,
Okay.
one or the other, but it like swapped.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, well, the second round the Vayne ban popped out, so I think the default was to fall back onto Misfortune.
Yeah, and then the second game they're just like, oh, Misfortune's great, and they just picked Misfortune first round.
I think Corey also plays Misfortune very well, so. But that's also one of the reasons I was a little bit surprised at the Nami and not picking up the Nami, because the Nami CC and ult would have also been done pretty well into Misfortune.
Yeah, anything that can interrupt her ult, that's easy to, or not easy, but can get to a far enough range.
Yeah.
Interrupt it.
Yeah, and you can easily interrupt her ult with that Nami ult without actually putting yourself in danger, which was also pretty big.
One of my favorite things when I played Sport Hike was going against Misfortunes, and when they would ult, like just dashing through them on the other side of their ult and stunning them, just completely screwing up their ult.
Or just playing Soraka and dropping a silence under them while they're ulting.
I don't believe in playing Soraka.
Oh.
Oh.
Okay.
Soraka's a great champion.
Yeah, I like having a champion Ocean.
I don't want to use the term degenerate.
Honestly, Soraka is 100% just like the Samira ban. Soraka is so much a mental health ban for me, and I knew that there were Sorakas out there in the wild during this tournament. And I swear, every time we played against Freljord, I was just like, "Are you sure you guys don't want to ban Soraka?" But we never did, and I was just like, every time
You did
I was just, like,
once.
holding my breath. Did we?
Yeah, you banned it last. I remember. I was like, why did they ban Soraka here? It was like the last ban. The last ban you guys did.
Oh, that might have just been because we weren't sure what to ban last, so we did Soraka as a mental health. But I
Yeah.
always was like, oh man, do we want to do Soraka? Most of the time we just didn't, and I always had this anxiety like, oh god, please don't pick Soraka, please. I can't handle it mentally.
Yeah. It's just I've actually had games where I've had an enemy Yasuo who's trying to dash through minions into us and just drop a silence there, and then he has to walk away.
Yeah, that silence is the thing that pisses me off so much that I will never play Soraka. Like I get so annoyed facing it that I'm just like, I don't even want to interact with this champion.
Yeah, champion wants to engage into a silence.
Yeah, I would just label her as generally anti-fun.
Yes.
She's an anti-fun pick.
Yeah,
it's like
a lot like Morgana.
Gluten-free, kind of like a gluten-free version of something. It might be good for you, but it's like really not fun.
Yeah, a lot like Morgana, actually. I've always said that Morgana's sole existence as a champion is to counter other champions.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just what you need. A champion counter. Nothing else. Just a champion.
Yeah.
So I had a question for Freljord and Sharima, and then possibly you, Rex, and Zayman.
Cool.
Whether the next tournament is a month from now or 3 months from now, where do you want to see Sharima at the tournament in 3 months? Like, what do you want Freljord to look like at the tournament 3 months from now? And then, of course, to the casters as well. What do you envision for the teams at that point?
I'm gonna go ahead and make one comment first and say that I would extend that timetable to possibly 6 months. Like, I don't know if there's a
I'm just
guarantee that it is going to be a month or 3 months between now and then,
I'm just throwing out, like, by the next tournament, where do you like envision your teams to be at?
I think that Shurima. So I see like two possibilities for Shurima. One is that I think their biggest kind of hurdle as a team is actually going to be just staying together and practicing continually, and kind of maintaining that momentum and desire to continue to improve even in the lulls in between events. And if they are able to do that and continually practice, I think that they're going to, I would expect them to be able to give Freljord a run for their money, for sure by the next tournament. I think that they're just with the progress that we've seen, so far, being brand spanking new, that's a pretty reasonable, expectation for them. And honestly, the same goes for Demacia. I think Demasia's got a lot of maintained momentum and like a lot of, kind of tilt proof nature. And so I don't see them, struggling with keeping up their regular practices and that kind of stuff. And supposing that that's able to happen, that I think that they're gonna be competing in similar elos to Freljord and Shurima before too long.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the way I look at the various teams, it seems like Freljord is a team that needs a little bit of polish. They've got most of the mechanics and the way they play the game down.
Wait, Freljord?
Yeah, as in like just polish. Yeah, general polish. But I mean, they're obviously the team that's most where they need to be. I don't expect a whole lot of changes out of Freljord. They've been the most stable team, and they're going to be the team to beat. They're going to be,
as example by their 9-0.
Yeah.
Hey, yes.
I think that as far as Shurima and Demacia are concerned, I think that, I mean, Zaman kind of hit everything on the nail. With Demacia, I just think that, at least, or especially in the term, we'll go with Shurima, especially in the case of Shurima, what I would like to see a little bit more is a little bit more training and attention to macro. The players themselves are mechanically gifted. That's why they win their lanes. They need to learn to translate that skill into learning game knowledge and understanding fight mechanics so that they can control team fights the way they control lanes. League of Legends is a lot more than just stomping your lane 2-0. And that's in terms of late game decision making and closing games out. I feel like that'll fall into place too as they learn. With Demacia, I would also just I think that as the players and teams start to figure out where their strengths are, and learning which win conditions to play around and which players to play around are going to be big. I think that's Freljord's biggest asset at the moment is they know their team and their teammates inside and out. They know who to play around. If someone's got a bad game, they know who to play around next. They know how to crawl back into games, and it's evidenced by the way they fight.
Now pause in the conversation here because I just have to point something out that Corey, is it your birthday?
It is now.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday,
man!
This was a great gift.
Birthday boy.
We have an older, somewhat older man.
Yeah, very old.
Today.
Older than yesterday.
Yes.
Older than yesterday, yeah.
True.
True.
Fact.
You will never be as young again as you were yesterday.
Gosh.
You're
The
not
dad
wrong.
jokes.
Oh no.
Well.
Watching the midlife crisis in real time.
Oh no! Oh no!
How does
Oh
it
no,
feel?
sorry.
How does it feel remembering the tournament and knowing that the vitality you had then is not the same as the vitality you have now?
No, just stop.
Everyone will have.
Oh no.
I need to go buy a Camaro quick.
Excellent use of vitality. I love it.
Just hurry
Oh
up,
my
get a
gosh.
Harley right across the country.
And then as far as I realized that that we haven't really touched on Ionia yet, and I did want to give a little bit of attention to them as well. So as far as they're concerned, like I think that their biggest hurdle right now is finding a team dynamic and like really dialing in kind of the relationship aspect of a team, and I feel like once you kind of get to know the people and start understanding the people that you're playing with a little bit more, then it becomes less difficult to overcome some of those tilting, obstacles and really dive deep into critique and helping each other improve. It's just for them, it's their group overall is still pretty new as well. And they just need to kind of work on a little bit of those team relational dynamics, and I feel like they can progress quickly after that. Let's see if there's anything else.
Whoa! I don't know if I appreciate what's going on in chat here.
Yeah, it's not happening.
Wait, they're trying to trade people in the chat?
They're trying to take my Corey away.
I will say it didn't really help you guys that I have spent a lot of time playing with you guys, and so I kind of know what you're going to pick and what you're typically going for and how you play. So
It definitely doesn't help us that that is the case.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
That's another thing that kind of makes these specific tournaments so unique and different from the Clash experience, is that the more you play them and the more you scrim the other teams, the better you get to know the people that you're playing against and their thought processes and typical bans and picks and all that kind of stuff. And so it gets progressively harder to really make headway against teams that know you that well. Whenever I was on Bilgewater, one of our initial divisions, and we were playing against Ionia, I knew, even though Jovi, who was the mid laner, not Jovi, even though he was the mid laner, he was way better than I am. But even though that was the case, I knew him so well, and our team knew how he played so well that we were able to mitigate a lot of the effects that he would normally have in a ranked or a Clash match against people that don't know him. So that definitely is a dynamic that just kind of gets more prevalent the more you play against the same divisions.
I'll backtrack us real quick back to the previous thought to kind of finish things. In regards to where I would like to see Shurima for the next tournament, I would say that hopefully by then, well, it'd be a problem if we weren't able to get this figured out, but obviously getting schedules aligned for working into more practice is a big thing. I would agree things that were already talked about, working on our strength, like the the aggressive factor, but I would go a little more in depth there to say that the biggest point that we could work on is our decision making and commitment factor, because there's a lot of stutter stepping going on, so to speak, where some people will want to commit to it and others will back off. There's a lack of communication and cohesiveness going on. So hopefully we're able to get that in track and being on a one-track mind for the next tournament.
Yeah, one of the thoughts that I just had with that, as you were saying it, was because that is a very like kind of weird dynamic to actually kind of specify and quantify, like how to actually achieve that. And because for some teams and people it just like works, and some have to work at it, and I wonder if it like part of it ultimately comes down to just believing that that is going to happen, or knowing that it's going to happen no matter what. Like it's like one of those things is like, okay, if they call it and they're wanting to do this, then these people are going to do it, and so I gotta get on board with this. And just kind of like having that knowledge of the person's mentality and how they're going to approach this situation. What do you think? Irv?
Oh, sorry, I was muted there. Yeah, no, I would just overall agree. Everyone getting on like the same mind track and having a lot of this would definitely come down to us playing together a lot more often, learning each other's mentality, and being able to even predict it ahead of time.
Right.
Would be huge.
Yeah, predicting the actions of your teammates, like what's actually going to end up happening here. Yeah. Cool. Well, if there are no other questions here in the chat, let's see. I don't think so. Nope. Doesn't look like there are any other questions. So I think we'll close it there. Thank you guys so much for joining us. And huge thank you to our casters again, for stepping in. Tyrannosaurus Rex, you have probably invested what, 25 hours of casting time for us over the tournament.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
And
awesome. Thank you.
Appreciate the other Rex as well, for stepping in here last minute for us. I would not have guessed that you've never casted before based off of your performance. I mean, you did amazing.
Yes, I'm very good at just speaking. I guess it comes naturally, but thank you. It was fun. I thought I would be more nervous, but it ended up being very enjoyable.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun to listen to. I enjoyed sitting here and listening while I was managing stuff. And thank you guys for our guests for joining us for the analyst desk. I know that a lot of times it's nice just to like sit back and detail after stressful matches like that. So I appreciate you being here. And I can't wait to see where all the teams go from here on out. It's going to be super exciting.
Yep.
All right.
And thank you to the audience for watching. Appreciate y'all. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. Like to see more stuff like this. Also, if you feel like donating, it's always appreciated. There is a lot of stuff that we would like to get going, but we can't because we currently, are blocked by the unfortunate need for money, and a lot of this stuff. So if you'd like to, you can go to teamhealers.com/donate and donate there. And that is always appreciated. So I guess we'll leave it there. And love you guys. You guys have a great rest of your evening.
Yep.
All
Good
right,
night,
thanks.
everybody.
Good
Thank
night.
you for watching.
Thank
Good
you
night.
all for your time.